Should you fight to get back with your ex, or should you simply give up and move on? It's the thing we're going to cover today in this video. Perhaps you think that you've tried everything, however you feel the pain, you know that what you had with your ex was special, you know that there's a future if you could explain them that you've changed or that you know the mistakes that you made throughout the relationship. In this video, I'm going to share with you and then give you a very potential brutal answer to this, whether you should give up or fight. I will share with you everything after the jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
The first thing is what I call the friends paradox. It's what most people do when they're not a therapist. So your friends, they care about you, right? They support you, they hear about your pain, they want to be there for you after the breakup. They see that you suffer, they provide that emotional support that you need, and you're grateful for that. However, at some stage, if it's been 1 or 2 months of you complaining or telling your story about your ex, they will be slightly, not fed up, but they would be, the deal when you're a friend and you support someone who's going through a breakup is I provide emotional support and I expect you to be happy. And after a certain amount of weeks, if you're not happy, I will start to be upset and think like, okay, you should stop talking about your ex. I don't want to hear about your ex. The reason you're sad is because of your ex. I provided you that emotional support. It makes me sad to see you so depressed. So I want this to end. Okay, and this is exactly what would friends do, and it's not because they are bad people, it's just because they're not necessarily trained as a therapist and they don't understand the emotional damage that a breakup can create in people. And this is why sometimes they would say, perhaps that's for the best. Perhaps you'll find someone better. Also, sometimes they project their own fears, their own stories, because a lot of people, they have had exes and they're really happy that they didn't go with their ex, and it's hard for them to understand why you want so hard to get back with them, right? So that's why sometimes people are really confused, because there is this friends paradox of people who want to help you and tell you, you should move on, you should forget him or her. Am I a hopeless romantic? No. Yes and no. Yes, perhaps because it's my French heritage. No, because I'm a relationship counselor and I'm very pragmatic. Now, the thing is, it probably took a few years for you to find your ex, for you to find that person, for you to build that relationship. And it makes sense for you to rescue this relationship because of the amount of investment. The problem is that you can end up in the fallacy of the sunk cost thing. So the sunk cost is whenever you invest a lot, and it could be money, could be time, could be, in relationship that could be money and time and emotional support and so on and so forth. Because you put a lot of investment, you're thinking like, because I've done so much, it's too late to pull out. So I'm going to stick with that. And that's, so give you this, I already started, it might as well keep going. Okay, we're used to that, we feel like, okay. And it's a very famous cognitive bias where we feel like, because I've invested so much, I would be in line with my decision. Okay, and that's sometimes what happens with relationship. We feel like we've been together 20 years, I can't say no to this relationship. I've invested 20 years of my life, I don't want to let go. So that's the thing about sunk cost. But are you delusional? Sometimes it happens. I don't see that often people calling me where they are delusional. It happens. But what I want you to do today is to take a step back and assess your relationship. What made it fall apart? What were the root causes of this breakup? Try to see whether you can recover it. Try to see if it's a question of we're not compatible, it's structural. I don't know, maybe structural would be you're heterosexual in your partner, the same sex, for example. That's structural, you can't really, you can change that, but structural is really about it's not working because we are so different, because we don't have the same value, we don't like the same things, we see things differently. Versus conjectural, versus at this point in time, I want something else. I want to travel and you are only working. I want us to have kids. And this one is structural, sorry. I want to have kids and you don't want to have kids. You need to find a compromise, okay? It's really about we're not compatible versus we have had bad communication. So if you feel like the breakup is mostly about the lack of communication or poor communication skills, continue watching this video because it's worth fighting for it. Now, you are on different timelines. My job very frequently is to slow down my clients. Remember that in your ex, if they decided to break up with you, the breakup happened way before you. They thought about breaking up with you before you knew about that, right? And what happens is at this stage, after the breakup, they're not sure whether they want to get back with you or not. They assume that it's the right decision for them, but at this stage, it's not about changing and convincing them. They're not sure. Your job is to create a safe space. That's the fascinating part of my job. Most of the success, most of the actions and the behaviors of people are unconscious. The reason they broke up with you was potentially because of their insecurities, potentially about their fear. The lack of communication or the poor communication is just the upper side of the iceberg. There's a lot of things going on underneath the surface. And for you to get your ex back together, to get your ex to see things differently, the most important thing you have to do is to create that safe space where they will be able to communicate, where they will be able to see things differently. Because, you know, an extreme example is that when you fight, it's the wrong time to address things. It's exactly the same in breakups. Breakup is not necessarily the right timing for you to address, for you to confront things with your ex. They need that safe space where they could assess whether a relationship on new terms is possible. Your ex, and this is like 100% of the cases, people will assess what's going on. We assume that you have had a meaningful, intense or a loving relationship. If that's the case, 100% of the case, when someone decides to break up with their partner, they will always assess whether things could have been different. Always, 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 always. It's not a whether, it's always. And when they assess this, they need to see, and it's very subtle sometimes, to see whether it could have been different. Because the problem is not you, it's the relationship. And so if you manage, your work is really to create that safe space for them to see things differently. It's about changing some aspects of your life, changing some aspect of yourself. There's an element of communication as well, but it's really about showing that. Because if after they feel safer, they can open up, they feel less stressed, they will be open to this idea of new relationship, there's no brainer. They know that you're a great person, they know what you have together. Deep inside, they want that as well. But you fixed, you removed the pain, you removed the tension, you removed the thing that made that relationship difficult. Now, it's all about progress when you assess whether you should continue, you should pursue, or should move on. Maybe you're impatient and that forces you to be too needy. Because you really want results right away. You broke up with them, they broke up with you a week ago, you have no news. You show up at their workplace and you want to confront them. You're impatient, and it's fine. I'm impatient too, but it's the thing is for you to understand that it doesn't work to be impatient, right? Maybe you are in strict no contact and you assume that your ex moved on because you've watched video online telling you that you should go no contact and it's the only way for you to get back with your ex. And if your ex doesn't contact you, it means that you should move on. It's obviously more complex than that. That's not as straightforward. Maybe you're in touch, but only get mixed signals, and you end up more confused. Okay, here is the trick. I'm going to try my best to make sense of what I'm going to say. And let me know in the comment section what you think about that. I'm challenging myself on this one. Focusing most of your attention trying to get your ex back will produce the opposite result and lead you to emotional burnout. I'm actually criticizing my videos when I do this. The point is, if you want to get back with your ex, and I see that every day, so it's proven that it's focusing your attention on the how, on the what should I say, what should I do thing, won't provide any result. Because the problem you have right now, and the reason you're probably watching this video, is because of the pain of the breakup. And at focusing your attention on trying those things and finding, clicking on sort of clickbait videos on manifesting your ex, getting your ex to beg you back and stuff like that. This is actually fueling that insecurity and that anxiety that was created on the back of your breakup. When I help people getting back with the ex, of course I help them with the communication, but that's 10% or 20% of my job. Most of my job is for them to reflect, is for them to understand how to be more secure. In any case, if they don't get back with their ex, which is quite rare when they're my clients, they are better equipped to have sustainable relationship and healthier relationship. But what happens is that when they do, like the vast majority of the cases, get back with their ex, that relationship is stronger. So it's really about reprioritizing, changing the priorities of things in your life to focus yourself on that self-improvement rather than focusing your attention on getting your ex back. Because the thing is, when you do that, you unconsciously project a lot of results and a lot of expectations that your ex can't meet right away. And you will always be in imbalance between what you want and what your ex is able to provide you at this point in time. So rather than focusing your attention on your ex, focusing your attention on you. And do the work on your own. That makes sense. So there are so many things you can focus on. Personal growth, your own happiness, your social life, your career, your money. See your life as having different elements. If we were to define happiness or fulfillment, I'm going to share with you a technique, a coaching technique that is very famous. It's called the wheel of life, which depends on different areas on your life. And let me show it now. So there's career, business, finances, health, family, romance, personal growth, fun and recreation, and physical environment. Depending on the wheel of life, but usually it's these aspects. So of course, romance, you're going to be 0 out of 10. However, if you think about that, your life is other things than just romance. So this thing is 0, but what about the other aspects of your life? Now that you don't have romance, you have to accept that you don't have romance. But right now, it's temporary. What can you be doing right now to feel better? Perhaps it's about health. Perhaps it's about physical environments. Why don't you tidy up your home? Why don't you do these works or paint the kitchen that you always wanted to paint? Fun and recreation, maybe. A relationship is about 30 hours per week. You have 30 hours per week to do things. Perhaps it's about personal growth. So, you've been always wanted to learn about yourself and consider, psychotherapy or seeing someone. So now is the opportunity for you to do these things. So when you look at this, romance is just one aspect of your whole life. Nurturing those elements will make you feel better. And the thing is, guess what? If you manage to grow on these aspects of your life, I'm pretty sure your ex will start thinking things differently. Perhaps the reason you guys broke up is that you were too codependent. Or perhaps it was about, your work-life balance. Perhaps about the fact that there are so many things in your life that you didn't take care of. So why don't you address those things? Why don't you work on those things? You'll feel better about yourself, you'll feel happier, and your ex will see it. It's this way around that you should aim to work on. I'm a strong believer that a breakup is actually the start of something new. This journey is only starting. Yes, of course, you're in pain. Yes, of course, it's hard. Yes, of course, it's awful to feel rejected. You need to readjust to that new normal, not waking up next to the person you love the most, not being able to share what you're up to with your best friend, your confidant. I know it's hard, so it needs readjustment. But it's also an opportunity for you to reorganize your life. Perhaps address things in your life, areas in your life that you put on hold for a while. I know it's a mess right now. Perhaps you feel like this. I hear that quite often. My life is a mess right now. Well, it's time for you to clean up the mess, and you have the ability to control that. I'm not talking about something you can't achieve. You have the control of that. Because it's messy and maybe you're lost in the fog and you want to know what you should be doing next and want to have some sort of a plan or a structure, I put together a course. It's very dense. There's a lot of things you can work. I know if you're watching my videos that you're very eager to learn and learn about yourself and learn new things. So you love it. Check the description if you want to access the course. You'll see it's quite complex, as you can see, but at least I wanted to really include everything that I use with my clients, bringing you from a place of being in that messiness to something with more clarity, more confidence, and you will see your ex will get back if you do that work. Because usually, if you think about that, this is what was missing in the relationship. Any question, don't hesitate to comment. I read all the comments, I answer to all the questions you post there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.